Okie dokie. I see you, Caranel. I appreciate that. I'm going to be right back, chat. I'm going to go get some water, and we'll be right back. How are we doing today, chat? Hello, baby. Cam, WTSS, I made it into Blair White's video, not a new one. Did I make it into another one of Blair's videos? I don't think I did. Yeah, I just haven't put out the stream highlight from that, from me reacting to that. Jesus Christ. Sorry, let me... I'm not in her... Oh no, that's... The Epstein file is not as new. Yeah, no, I know I'm in her TikToker's video, even though I'm technically not really a TikToker, but whatever. Magenta's Riffraff, thank you for following. Pretty coat. This is just an overshirt, actually. It's not even a coat. Have I seen the latest finds from the file? Yeah, we're gonna be Demonio with our pit bull. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm having a hard time with the files, y'all. Should stream layout be up? No, this is my no. Lady, you are fine. All right, chat. Tell you what, we are gonna. I need to actually take Lady out because I forgot to do that right before the stream. So I'm gonna mute. We're gonna be on. Be right back for a second, and then we will actually be right back, and then we'll get into the the horrors. Alrighty, chat. I am back. Lady is back with me. Thank you for waiting. I have, thankfully, I just got some tea made. Sorry, that's what took so long. So I took Lady out really quick, and then I had to get my tea. Lady, stop it. Honey, you are too big to be down there. You are too big, pupper. Do you want to try and jump up here? Yeah. Want to say hi? You want to say hi? Hello, my baby. Yeah, you see, you're a big dog. You're a big dog. It's a big chair. Do you want to come up on this side? Hello. Hello, baby. Hello, my girl. Broken pancreas. Feeling better? A little bit. It's more... Okay. That's enough out of you. You're getting too excited. All right, I'm gonna put some treats in her toy real quick, and then she'll leave me alone. She's excited because I just took her out, so she's ready for playtime. It is not playtime, Popo. Deadass forgot you started the stream on your phone and got jump scared by me. I'm sorry. Well. New chair. Yeah, Johnny Varro, you didn't see the chair from last stream. New chair. Oh, the chair is so fucking good, honestly. Markiplier's Iron Lung, actually solid. I've heard good things about it. I am going to go see Iron Lung at some point. I need to go see, why? Is my... Okay, there it goes. Oh, that's why. Or I guess not. Have you seen Bibu's new chair? I don't know who Bibu is. Let me X that out. Sorry, I was doing editing, so I am still, I am, let's, my new lazy chair, let's do tilt. Lady. Stop. Lady. This dog, I tell you what. Thank you very much for everybody who is donating today. Thanks to everybody for being here. I know it has been a rough couple of days in the news cycle, and man. Do you have Dr. Jess Ting in the Epstein news lineup at the moment? I do not. Let me look her up really quick. Because all I really have for the Epstein news is I was going to go over the fucking awful interview with Steve Bannon. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, Dr. Jess Ting is in the Epstein files. This is from a post on Reddit. Contents of much of the correspondent and others between 2012 and 2017 is missing, not redacted, just not there at all. We can see email headers, but nothing below it. Implies he visited Epstein's Island in March 2013. There were emails not only concerning... I've read some of this stuff. There we go. Imply decently close. Close enough that he seemingly served as Epstein's doctor on several occasions, seemingly provided medical consultations procedure for several of Epstein's friends at his request. Jesting is the leading gender-affirming surgeon at Mount Sinai and creator of the peritoneal vaginoplasty for trans women. I mean, they are all over the place. I am sure, here's the thing, I am sure more people are going to, oh, no, they already are. I've seen plenty of people talking about how, you know, Ray Reborn, thank you very much for $10. It may be rough, but we are all tougher together. Yes, we absolutely are. My dad cursed me with knowledge of conspiracy that Bannon is Q. Bannon's not Q. Bannon is not Q. No, Q is the Watkinses. Like that's dead on. Invalid synapse. Thank you for $20. Shiba Dog in samurai armor waving a banner saying number one. No, Carnell. Saw Marilyn Manson and Eminem. Marilyn Manson doesn't surprise me. Eminem, from what I've seen, Eminem is in the files for the same reason that like other prominent celebrities are, and that is because this was a massive socialite. Like Jeffrey Epstein was an incredibly well-connected person. You have to be, in some ways, you have to be like either secretive to a drastic extent or to just stay away from that shit from the beginning, like Lady Gaga did. And from what I've seen, I have not seen M like implicated in going to the island or anything like that. Yeah, Marilyn Manson absolutely doesn't fucking surprise me. He has been a piece of shit for so long. El Salve, thank you for $2. Looks like your Melania review is blooming. Yeah, it is doing. I'm pretty happy with how it's doing, honestly. Well, I don't know about if they slipped in Dr. Ting. I think the mom Donnie mom thing is fucking stupid. So there are two things happening, right? Where you have the massive revelation that at some level, and it remains to be seen how much, but at some level, Jeffrey Epstein inspired projects like Pull, inspired radicalizing alt-right materials being disseminated on the internet. Was chatting with the people like Steve Bannon, who we will watch a video of him interviewing Steve Bannon interviewing him, where you have, for example, with Steve Bannon, the connections between Epstein and then Steve Bannon and then Steve Bannon to things like Gamergate really do seem, right now, seem to support the broad suspicion that Epstein had something to do with getting the wheels moving on the modern online alt-right reactionary movement. And that has pissed off that movement so drastically because they have spent, they've spent over a decade now trying to hold up Trump and trying to, fight against the deep state and fight against, like, in so many slurs and so many hate-filled online campaigns, trying to hold the Jews accountable and trying to get them. And then it turns out that they were fucking idiots who were, useful rubes for people in power, which we all knew. But what they are trying to do, because this is how cognitive dissonance works, is because they do not want to take it on the chin that they are all fucking idiots who got had, they are desperately grasping for two things. One, a way to justify the left as having a similar culpability in a similar movement, which people are accusing Ghislaine Maxwell of, which is fucking hilarious. Like, the idea that Reddit, because Ghislaine Maxwell was a mod on some Reddit boards, the idea that Reddit as a whole is as responsible for the current state of American politics as the fucking alt-right coming out of Gamergate is laughable. Anybody who says that shit, you need to laugh at them. Like, legitimately laugh at them, because they're fucking idiots. Sorry, give me 1 second. I had to turn the heat down. There we go. The other half of it that's very funny is having people so desperately trying to reach out and cover for the fact that in similar ways that they were also useful idiots. For Trump, for the people who've been covering this up for so long. You do not, I need everybody to listen to me when I say this, right? You do not, under any circumstances, gotta hand it to them. It doesn't matter if it's Alex Jones, doesn't matter if it's the QAnon people, because guess what? They were not right at all. The idea is like, well, no, you see, Alex Jones was right because look, he looked at all this. No. All of this, let's look at this really quick. Give me a second. I'm going to pull something up. I'm going to pull up some of the conspiracies that we've been seeing. Because these are tied into the shit that we know happened, right? So in the past few days, if you have been on any degree of social media as these files have been coming out, you have undoubtedly seen so many people getting out their corkboards, drawing parallels, drawing lines between shit that has nothing to do with the verifiable facts and the credible allegations in the files. That's it. And it pisses me off to no end to see so many people out here not just getting boosted and being shared, but credulously. On one hand, we have spent the last decade, I don't understand how people hit this tipping point, where we've spent the last decade listening to all of these dipshits be blatantly wrong. Every conspiracy theorist, there is not the conspiracy theorists were right with this, because some rich fucking freaks were out there murdering children. Because guess what? They got every other aspect of every part of their worldview completely incorrect. Like, this is the when Nick Fuentes is criticizing Trump, is that you don't need to give it to him for being able to look outside and be like, oh, the sky is blue. Like, you don't. Because every other thing they say is so self-serving. It serves only to help spread their worldview and their ideological agenda. The people spreading this shit do not care about victims. That's it. The people on social media right now spreading these things, if they are not complete dipshit conspiracy brained idiots just like Epstein was, then their only interest in this is not seeing people actually brought to justice. It is social media clout. It is more exposure. It is spreading to a new audience. When you see people talking about Epstein email leaks confirm what television shows like the OA and Stranger Things have been telling us for years, when trauma-based mind control fractures someone's psyche, the victim gains psychic abilities. No, it doesn't, actually. It just straight up fucking doesn't. And the amount of conspiracies I have seen in the last couple days, here's what this serves to actually do, right? Let's look at this, okay? Let's look at it really. Okay, here we go. So, what prompted your Asperger email? This is him responding to somebody else, where somebody, Gino Yu, I guess, wrote to him, I'm in Paris and was about to write you when it popped up. She is a classic stage 3 in the model. Outlier who is intelligent, was traumatized when she was young, sex abuse, and now gradually coming into her own and becoming self-realized, starting to develop special abilities. This trip, we found a lot of stories like this, have been working with many such people with the model with good success. So, a completely unverified report with no proof. Let's look at the actual facts that we do have. We know that Epstein was obsessed with bizarre, weird, occult type rituals. We know Epstein was obsessed with spreading his genetic data and cloning and hybrid experiments and all of this weird shit. It was largely why he courted like Silicon Valley magnates and shit, right? I look up 4chan psychic training. They think there's, okay, here we go. Man Bear Bunny Butters, they think there's proof of psychic abilities in it. Why? Because, sorry, I'm clearing my throat. Because it helps to, what shit like this does. The people who spread these conspiracies, much like Alex Jones has for decades, they're not serious. They're not, when you see somebody like Alex Jones say, oh, Bohemian Grove, I went into a Bohemian Grove in the early 2000s. We caught all this stuff on tape, folks. No, he fucking didn't. Yeah, Bohemian Grove is a real place where a bunch of rich assholes dress up in stupid masks and stupid little outfits and talk about how self-important they are, but that's no different than any fucking given Peter Thiel tech conference, and he'll get on his knees and suck those dudes off any day of the week. The shit that they showed doesn't actually support their claims. When somebody like Alex Jones says, oh, we showed all this and this has been all declassified, you look into it 100 times out of 100, it's fucking bullshit. And the only stuff it serves to do by embracing these conspiracies, by even giving them a little bit of credulity, the only thing it serves to do is avoid accountability for the things that are right in fucking front of us. The genuine horrors of the Epstein files are not in fucking demons or ghouls or supernatural forces or Jewish Kabbalah or fucking Gnosticism or numeric text or fucking gematria or any of that bullshit. The horror of the Epstein files is that these people still walk unaccountably free in the world after everything they've done. Give me 1 second. I need to feed Miss now. Craig Reese, thank you for subbing. Penguin no Sato, thank you for subbing. Like, when people bring up, again, when people bring up, oh, Stanley Kubrick was killed for Eyes Wide Shut. It's like, no, he fucking wasn't. He was a 70-year-old in terrible fucking health. He had a heart attack. Like, he wasn't killed because of Eyes Wide Shut. Let's please get back to fucking reality where children are still being trafficked. Where people are still suffering. Where all of the people... We do not know how many people are dead or buried or assassinated to keep these secrets secret. And the fact that there are so many people out there who are willingly ready to jump on, oh, what if this ties back to something from 20 years ago? What if, didn't this, who's the fucking, the John Benet Ramsey case? Like, that's what people are, like, trying to turn every aspect of this into. And in some ways, the Epstein files are kind of perfect. Like, they feel like, in a lot of horrifying ways, the just desserts of the American experiment. Right? Like, it feels like a hell, not necessarily of our, as an individual own making, but of America's own making. Particularly from the elites, the oligarchs that, rule over us now. And what I say when I mean that is that no matter what happened with the Epstein files, whenever they came out, whatever political climate it was, they would always be a kaleidoscope, right? Like, how do I put this? One of the dangers about this, and the reason that I bring up these conspiracy theories, is that one of the most dangerous aspects of the Epstein files is going to be not the files themselves, but how we as individuals have been conditioned to receive and disseminate information. How we as people on left, right, center, engage with politics, disengage with politics, at every level, every new piece of news that we've had for the last 10, 15 years has to become a cultural war inflection point, where we are not able to put aside any differences for the greater good. We must have it make our side look better, right? And now, when I say it's a kaleidoscope right now, is that we are in a time where there are 1,000 different sides, even within conservatism, even within liberalism or leftism. There are people who are pro-Trump, anti-Israel. There are people who are anti-Israel, pro-Trump. There are people who are pro-both. There are people who are anti-both, all on the conservative side. And that's just two positions, right? Which is where we are now. Is that the files, we have our most comprehensive look yet, and they're still not entirely out. And everybody is taking what they want them to mean and running with that. The people who are out here, for a perfect example, is the dipshits who are like, yeah, didn't you know Zohran Mamdani is obviously fucking Epstein's kid? And here's, if you want a great example of why you can't trust people like Alex Jones, when people are like, oh, I can't believe Alex Jones was right this whole time. It's like, no. Because Alex Jones will jump onto any narrative that is presented to him. That is what Alex Jones has been doing for 30 years. The idea that Alex Jones saw a very obviously AI faked photograph of Zohran Mamdani as a kid with his mom, photoshopped next to Epstein, Bill Gates, and Bill Clinton, and was like, oh, well, this is obviously real, folks. Because Grok said it's true. Fucking A+ journalistic effort there, Alex. And that people are giving credulity to people like that in this moment. If you truly wish to be vigilant, to fight for justice and accountability, You owe it to yourself and everybody around you to speak out against these bullshit narratives that are popping up, because they do not actually help victims. They do not actually help hold people accountable. The only thing conspiracy does right now is obfuscate and hide. It serves to create a detachment and a level of fantasy between the general public and the evil motherfuckers actually behind this. Because if they can look at the mountain of evidence and say, well, yes, but these people are, they're crazy. They believe in aliens. They believe in psychic research. Well, this is obviously untrue. Then they can just gaslight all of this shit away, which is what they fucking want. The reality, the horror, the terror of what has actually happened is tangible. It is something people have felt, literally. It is something that has affected and ruined and changed unknowable and countless lives. It is not a fucking Hollywood movie. It is not a blockbuster film. There aren't going to be any. And here's where I think the last bastion of cognitive dissonance is for the conservatives still trying to defend Trump. For the people who bought into Q. For the people who bought into all these conspiracies, who cannot accept that they were fucking wrong, that they were stooges and they were used. Is that they are still holding on to this American bullshit idea that it's going to be like an action movie. That at the end of the day, the good guy is going to come swinging in and rescue all the kids. But there is no good guy. There is nobody in a position of power who wants to do that. Sorry, give me 1 second. Sorry, chat. Sweet though, Giver. Thank you very much for ZAR $100. Isn't much in dollars, about $5.50. Thank you. I wanted to send some support and also let you know that former South African President Jacob Zuma has been implicated in the files. K thing. Thank you very much for €2. In my opinion, they got too many functional caps. Oh yeah. Oh no, that's so Solar Leaf 2029. We can't trust these people. I pray nobody puts these conspiracy theorist Jonesians on a pillar and start believing everything they should out. We are at that point. It is not surprising. Again, if you cover conspiracy, if you've, like I have, researched it, dived deep into the wells of where this shit comes from and how these people operate, it's not surprising that they're using this as an opportunity, but that's what it is. When people are talking about and they're sharing, oh, look at this comet ping pong and Huma Abedin and all this shit, what you have is people who are deliberately obfuscating, again, to fit their ideological worldview. Even today, somebody was sharing around a video that I was like, or an email that I was like, oh, that's obviously fucking faked. It wasn't in the same format as the rest of the emails, and it was just, the subject line was just like a list of liberal politicians, literally everyone that somebody from 10 years ago would have hated. Like Ben Affleck was fucking in there. Stephen Colbert was in there. Stephen Colbert is one that they keep hitting on. Like, the amount of times I've seen people sharing videos that are unsettling, videos that are horrifying. There's the fucking video of the small child with his face painted and a kid is, or a man with like a clown wig is like laughing in his face. That's fucked up. That's weird. That's disturbing. We don't know who that is. There's no reason that I should be able to go onto twitter.com right now and see somebody like Stephen Colbert being accused of being in the Epstein files for being unverifiably in this fucked up video and that getting shared around. Because, like, think of the function that has, for example. Because I've seen that shit. I've seen so much of that shit, particularly from conservative accounts. talking about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. It's like, okay, I don't give a fuck about them. But they need to maintain a narrative that their guy is still good. Or at the very least, they've gotten to this point where they cannot avoid the culpability Trump has. And they are trying to pivot around it. And that's why you're seeing all of this shit right now. About, Jeffrey Epstein was... Like, now they are trying to... Because Jeffrey Epstein was, I guess, friends with a rich trans surgeon. Now that means that, Jeffrey Epstein is behind the trans craze. It's like, okay, well, what does it say that J.K. Rowling personally invited him multiple times? Like, kind of not relate. Like, no. He was a fucking sick weirdo who saw trans people as disposable. Just like he did with children, just like he did with women, just like he did with everybody else in his life. Like, you can look through the emails he has fetishizing trans women. We're talking with other people about, like, oh, you can do this, and they smell like this, and this, that, and the other. And it's all just the most baseline chaser shit in the world. You're going to tell me that this was the mastermind of the modern queer movement? Get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about? Yeah, no, Anarchaley, you absolutely don't have to give it to the freaks who believe in Frazzle Drip. No, Anarchaley, I saw Huma Abedin's name pop up today, and I'm like, oh, no, that's not actually from the Epstein files. This is somebody else inserting their fake bullshit. And right now, there are thousands of people who are trying to do that. I cannot express to you how absolutely flooded with fake information it's already becoming. In just the last day or two, the amount of fake videos I've seen of Bill Clinton, of Trump, they're hugging, they're shirtless in bed. Fake videos with Zohran Mamdani and Epstein. And it's obviously fucking fake because they look just like different places or different outfits that we've seen in other videos. But it's the only purpose behind it is to flood the zone and muddy the waters so terribly nobody knows what's true. And this additionally, by the way, this is additionally the problem with every dumb fuck clout chasing room temperature brained dullard who thinks it's, oh, you know what? Epstein files? I'm going to make some memes about this. Epstein files? Yeah, let's meme it out. Let's meme out the fucking Epstein files. Let's make memes about whatever meme page, Rick and Morty fucking, trafficking kids. That'll be funny. That'll get 1,000 likes. And maybe it's just how fucking irony poisoned and brain poisoned a large contingent of Gen Z is. Gen Z and millennials to a large extent. But it doesn't help. These things are not jokes. These things happened. They are not meant to be pointed at and laughed at. That's what they hope you will do. And you owe it. I would say you owe it to yourself, but you owe it at this point to humanity. And I mean this very seriously because that sounds very grandiose, but you owe it to humanity to ignore all of that shit, to put all of that white noise aside. Demand accountability and culpability for the things that are happening here that we can see, that we know about. I'm tired of this men stare at goats bullshit. I'm tired of hearing about fucking MK Ultra and all of this bullshit. Am I saying, by the way, I'm sure I'm going to get people in the comments saying, well, the CIA did this and COINTELPRO this and OSINT this. And like, yeah, I know that. Like, I'm not saying they weren't involved in fucking Mossad or CIA Black Ops or all that shit. Probably were. But we don't need all the black magic, demonic ball worship bullshit. You do not need to. Right now, what you are seeing is 1,000 conspiracy theorists of all stripes. Some of them, a lot of them are Nazis. A lot of them are QAnon. A lot of them have a lot of overlap between the two. Trying to find ways to justify the time that they sunk defending all of this shit. Trying to find some way to shove this new information into the framework that they were already living by. But they can't. The way you need to do that with the information we've been given is to destroy that framework. To understand how deep, perpetual, and long-lasting this rot is. Because that is the only way we can rip it out at the heart. They want you to forget. The people behind this, just like with Epstein in prison, just like with Ghislaine, they want you to grow numb to it. They want one person to take the fall, or maybe a couple people to take the fall, so that they can remain in their halls of power. And every time you share a AI meme of Epstein and Charlie Kirk as the Avengers, because it's so funny, you are helping them get away with it. That's it. That's all I'm going to fucking say about it. Blu-ray, what was your question? I didn't see it. Extremely disappointing. Thank you for not wasting any more of my time. I can't scroll that far up. Um, 3D Bob, someone say Pizzagate QAnon was started by the pedos to make anyone accusing the pedos look crazy. Like, it doesn't matter at this point. I don't care one way or the other, personally. Like you to look over if you could. I don't know if I want to right now. If it's the diary thing, I kind of don't want to. I just want to watch this stupid fucking interview. Sorry, chat. I am heated today, if you couldn't tell. I've had to deal with going through do you think that they care about the victims? I think people have tricked themselves into thinking they care about the victims. Like, the fact that this isn't one of the most, like, number one things right now, the fact that I have seen this less than I have people talking about fucking, oh, they killed Stanley Kubrick for this shit, tells me that, no, people don't actually care about the victims. Because, look, there's a victim right there. There's a perpetrator right there. There's somebody who was in front of cameras walking a red carpet less than a fucking week ago right there. Why is he still breathing if you care about victims? Sorry, that might have crossed TOS. All right, Carnell, if you want to link it to me. Carnell, you can just DM me the link on Discord. Okay. Nope. All right, somebody pulled this out. So is this the whole thing? Yeah, it is. I can't really show that part on the screen because I don't want to do Discord shit, but start here. I like. Where is this from? The slaves in Lake Placid were invisible. Okay, I'm gonna go. All right, I'll just illustrate it on stream. Lake Placid slaves. Jesus Christ. Here we go. Right here. So for people who can see this right now, right here. So the way this works, I had a hard time kind of parsing what the hell this cipher she was using works. More of this stuff is going to come out because the way this is written is L. So you start here, L-I-K-E space Mar-a-Lago. So what is said here, the slaves in Lake Placid were invisible. People were playing golf at the retirement community, and right behind them was a slave camp, like Mar-a-Lago. And, or is it, Jesus Christ. El Salve, holy shit, thank you very much. And Uncle Simrek, thank you for $5. Oh my God, El Salve. Thank you for 10 donos, 10, it's only 2 lines per word. Yeah. Like Mar-a-Lago. Okay. This is not surprising, but there is no gas. Jesus. And here's the other thing that pisses me off is that instead of actually digging into the ties, because if you want to know why the Kubrick stuff comes up, it's because it's fucking easy. Like it is easy for conspiracy theorists to go by their tried and true things that they've already decided are conspiracies, things that they've already decided are true, rather than looking into the relationship between people, and there are people, don't get me wrong, there are people who are out there doing some really good investigative work. People who are lining up. I saw a great people have been trying to find who could it have been that Epstein was talking to about the torture video. And I saw somebody, I need to go find it for myself because, again, you can't just trust this shit. But I saw somebody purporting to, and I'm not giving 100% certainty to it, but I saw somebody purporting to have found that during the same time somebody responded to Epstein about being in China, that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was in China. Like, that to me, that's more real than a accidental banking record being misspelled and people going, oh, see, Epstein worshipped the ancient Babylonian god Baal. Like, fuck off. Get the fuck out of here. And I think I only got so incensed over the ball thing because as soon as I opened up YouTube, Candace Owens is right there. Fucking I'll just show y'all. It'll probably come up again. Oh, there's Hassan. Oh, I guess let me go to Candace. Ball so hard. I'm glad she's making a fucking joke out of it. I'm glad it's funny to her as she gets to turn it into a fun little pun. Ball so hard. That shit cray, ain't it, Jay? So yeah, here's how that cipher goes, and where people are finding like Mar-a-Lago. You start here, like Mar-a-Lago, and that was the one we just saw. El Salve, thank you very much for $5. I hope none of these member gifts were given to Bad and Banana or Destiny fans or any other haters. I'm sure they won't. Candace Owens about to fuck up biblical scholarship. No, I was seeing people. Let me see if I can find really quick. People, because here's the other thing. Here's where it gets really dangerous. Is you have people who you think like, oh, they're turning a corner. Oh, they're going to join my side. Oh, they're like realizing where they went wrong and they can be a powerful ally and stuff. No. Here we go. Where the fuck was it? Like, she's talking about the Epic of Gilgamesh. Does fucking Candace Owens, the person who says debacle, does she strike you as somebody who's a real literate history scholar? Just doesn't seem like it to me. Here we go. This is one that I saw being passed around as like, whoa, it's crazy how I can't believe I literally saw somebody retweet this being like, oh, I can't believe I'm in a timeline where I'm agreeing with Candace Owens. It's like, okay, you need to understand. Too many people. How do I put this? Too many people aren't good at parsing conspiracy. They don't know the signs of what people are actually saying. They don't understand how people use coded language and dog whistles. So let me turn you on to a game like this. Because this is shit I had to learn when I was digging into the conspiracies. Yeah, Commander Razor, you've already got it in chat. When I was digging into the conspiracies from the hate church. We are ruled by satanic pedophiles who work for Israel. Everyone needs to digest that fact now. Pray and prepare yourselves to continue this fight against who are working to protect them in government, media, and church. This is the synagogue of Satan we're up against. Now, if you are familiar with conspiracy circles, you will know that synagogue of Satan is very obvious and clear-coded Nazi language to talk about the Jews. That's it. That's all she's saying. She is saying the Jews control everybody. That is, if you want to know how serious these people are taking it, she has spent the last couple months profiting off of the death of a former friend who spent his life and his last couple days talking about how, oh, the Epstein files weren't real. And yet, when it comes down to revealing that not only were the Epstein files real, but that the side that she has ideologically entertained and supported has played a pivotal role in downplaying them while proliferating the agenda of the people responsible for these crimes. What's her first reaction? Oh, it's the Jews. Absolute moron shit. All right, I need to, yeah, Miss is yelling for food again. Oh yeah, no, Karen, no, we covered that last week on stream. I read the entire journal with my mother. It's fucking the journal is bleak. Yeah. I don't know. Baal, no, because Baal is the same thing as like Moloch worship. And that's the same shit you're going to see is that it's always some ancient, like, the problem I really have, and sorry, I'm going to go off on another fucking tangent here, because the problem I have with so much conspiracy is that it is the most goodwill interpretation of batshit you could possibly find, usually, where it is always some ancient pagan heathen deity. And it's never, by the way, it's always a Christian or an antagonistic to Christian deity. Like there's never, you're never gonna fucking see like one of the thousands of deities in the Hindu pantheon. You're never gonna see ancient like stories from fucking Japan or China. Like it's never gonna be some strange urban legend from East Africa. No, it's always gonna be, it's Baal. It's the guy, you know, the Bible, the most popular book in the world. Just turns out that the demons that all the pedophiles and elites are worshiping, yeah, they're the worst dude we plucked right from the Bible. That's, yeah, of course, yeah, naturally. Like it's, come on, fucking think about it for a second. And it that extends, by the way, to a lot of the shit that is a criticism of Jews and the Jews are controlling everything and all this shit. Because they'll go and they'll find some random, completely forgotten tangent or coda written by some rabbi 100 years ago that is like, oh, you know, you cannot, if a Jew, if you give money, you cannot take, like, they will try and cast it as like, oh, this is, we have to treat all goyim like this, and all the goyim are cattle and slaves, and it's like, no, well, A, that's not what they said. B, you don't understand the fucking context of any of this shit, and you're just plucking it out of order, which they hate when you do that with the fucking Bible. But then C, the thing that gets me the most is that they will always say it as though every single Jew, literally, like, they seem to think that Jewish people operate by similar rules as vampires, right? Where no matter what, they have to obey these rules that are nebulously being given and discovered and just happened, like, oh, these you know, online internet sleuths are the first people to find out that somebody 150 years ago or some shit said that, yes, these people are like cattle. And it's like, aha, you see, this ties it all together. This is how we're owned by Israel or some shit. A bit like how every possession / exorcism case has people raised in belief. Yeah, no heathens for demonic possession. Yeah, it's like do you ever wonder, for example, why you don't get a lot of like evangelical Christian possession films? Do you think about this? I think about this all the time. Because, like, I think it would be a much more interesting horror setup. I may actually write one when I'm done with the current script I'm working on, which is going great, by the way. I just hit a really big bump in productivity on that. So I'm still hoping to be on track to start crowdfunding by the end of March. I'll talk more about that later. It's not the place or time. But, like, it's because the narratives about possession have been so passed down, particularly through the priesthood in Catholicism. Like, are there a lot of Mormon possession stories? No. Like, then why are all of them seemingly Catholic? Why are all of them seemingly from a background where people are predisposed to think that, oh, you can be possessed by demons and it can affect your behavior? Nehemiah, thank you very much for $20. We're talking about rabbinical stuff. Basically works like the Talmud are records of extensive debates between rabbis from the first 2 centuries. It's everything that was brought up, not what was agreed upon. Yeah, the thing, from my understanding of the Talmud, because it is very dense, my understanding of the Talmud is that it is like a lot of rabbis talking about doctrine and doctrinal interpretations. And guess what? Do you, to anybody saying like, well, this is what the Jews thought, it's like, okay, take a difference between what the Christians think. Look at a dipshit like Joel Webbin, who will be out here, the Matt Walsh lookalike, who will be out here talking about how women need to be subservient to men, and who, by the way, is also a dipshit who believes in shit like fairies and giants and the lost city of Atlantis and all that stuff. So on one hand, you have somebody out here representing Christianity like that. On the other hand, you have, let's say, a prosperity gospel pervert, right? Like some asshole who'd get covered on Fundy Fridays and have, oh, please, you need to give just $20 more, just $20 more from your retirement account. Will give me my jet and will ensure you a place in heaven beside me. Like all of that bullshit. Okay, so if you have that massive disparity of interpreting the gospel that is wrong at both ends, and most Christians can at least have some cognizance of that, because most Christians will at least delineate, okay, we are not like them. We are not Methodists for this, this, and this. We are not Lutherans because this, and this. We call ourselves this very specific brand of Baptist because we believe in this. So all of these motherfuckers can, down to the letter, classify their religion like a fucking phylum and a genus. But you mean to tell me that they can't realize that other faiths also have a wide variety of interpretations and scholarship that go back hundreds, if not thousands of years? Like suddenly these conspiracy theorists, their fucking mind melts when they think about, oh wait, the Talmud might actually be more complicated than just this person happening to say something that affirms my worldview about, all the people in the world being evil. Like, get the fuck out of here. What? Oh. Sorry. Nehemiah, thank you very much for $5. Joel Webbin is too stupid to be comparable to a rabbi. I'm not comparing him to a rabbi. I'm more comparing just like the vast diversity of Christian thought. If you can on its face say, okay, well, this might represent some part of Christianity, or this might represent some part, but it isn't wholly complete. If you can look at that and draw that line and be like, well, that's not me as a Christian, then you should also be able to do the exact same with every other fucking religion. I don't care if it's Judaism. I don't care if it's Islam. The amount of people that drive me fucking crazy, where people will every now and then, if I do a video, or if a video really pops off, and I'll do like I'll do a review or something of like a religious film or a Christian movie, and I'll make fun of Christians. And every time I get these snide little motherfuckers in my comments who are like, well, I bet you wouldn't say that if it was Muslims. And it's like, okay. Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't speculate about a Muslim fascist theocracy in America because we have a Christian mission for a fascist theocracy. Give me 1 second. Alrighty. Coney, sorry. Or thank you for following. Magar, I would watch a Mormon possession film about a demon that takes people who do not wear their magic garments. Hell yeah, now you're talking. I still need to do, I planned last year to do I don't think I ever actually got into it, writing it, but yeah, no, exactly. Just to be here 409. Look at Islam. There's disagreements on whether or not it's haram to drink alcohol. The idea, Islam doesn't piss me off. I have a lot of people in my audience who are Muslim. I have no real beef with Muslims. It pisses me off the way particularly Western and particularly white people buy into propaganda about Islam, because it is deep. It goes to the point, the propaganda is so deeply instilled in the West, and particularly after 9/11, it has been, that to the point you still can be a liberal, still be called a liberal, still be called left-leaning, if you openly spread Islamophobia. Like, it's wild. Brianna Wu, Destiny, both great examples of people who openly reiterate and spread what essentially amount to conspiracy theories about how violent Arabs are, about how they like it's that Ben Shapiro quote about, well, they live in open sewage and all this shit. It's like, well, Ben, if the fucking Israeli occupational forces didn't keep bombing them within an inch of their life anytime a child walks up to a fence, maybe they wouldn't have to live in that sewage. Have you thought about that? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, El Salve, that's actually a really great point. Is that, like, it's one of those things where I feel like people have to find the differences and hit on those, because especially when it comes to, like, American Christianity, evangelical Christianity, there are honestly, both for radical conservatism and more open-minded sects, there is more in common than sets these two religions apart in a lot of ways. Like, the ultra-conservative sides want most of the same shit, just with a different banner flying. Bill Maher. Bill Maher's another fucking example. And that also goes for the more progressive side of the religion. Like, the amount of times I've gotten emails from people, I've talked to people who are Muslim, but they'll be queer, they'll be trans, they'll be in other progressive sects, because guess what? Like every other religion, there are places where these things vary by the severity of their conservative attitudes and the way that they want to be used to control people, versus what religion can be good for, which is community, which is affirming, which is helping others, which is finding a place for support. Canadian Goose. I was talking to my dad one time about the apartheid in Israel and the West Bank and how Palestinians have no freedom of movement. Oh shit, where the fuck? God, all right, here we go. Have no freedom of movement whatsoever, and there's checkpoints all over the place. My dad just retorts, well, they don't know which one is a terrorist or not. It's just like I don't even, how do you begin talking to somebody about how, like, that attitude is what literally creates terrorists? Like, that the idea that you go, they don't know if any of these children are terrorists or not, so might as well check and shoot them all. It's like, you're doing the thank you very much, QF Glenn, for $5. The Real Talk with Bill Maher show is edited by Joe Rogan. Check the end credits. There's no fucking way. No fucking way. No fucking way. I will have to actually check. That would be, it can't be the same Joe Rogan, right? Nehemiah, thank you very much for $5. Also, today we have debates ranging from can I eat peanuts during Passover to should we have a genocidal ethno state, and tons of loopholes. Yeah. What is the, okay, Nehemiah, back me up here. What is there is a saying that, and I've talked about this before when I did my piece on anti-Semitism. Every Jewish person I talked to told me this, and it's true. Where if you have 5 Jews in a conversation, Nehemiah, how many different opinions do you have? Bruce Magson, thank you for $10. Here in the Twin Cities, mosques and churches are working together against ICE. Even before that, Muslims and Christians get along really well here. Yeah, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Like, the natural state of humanity is reaching equilibrium even with people who don't look like you, don't sound like you, don't act like you. Like, the idea that, the most powerful, the most profitable times in history, like, those shit, that never came from a fucking ethno-state at all. Now, whether it came from a slave trade, whether it came from communal, like, interplay, whether it came from war and conquering, but just as many times as that, look up the Islamic Golden Age. Look up the Ottoman Empire. Look up these structures and things that pushed our culture forward by hundreds, if not thousands of years, that represented so many different groups intermingling, exchanging information and knowledge, coming together. It's so fucking frustrating to then see people with all of technology is at our fingertips at any given moment. You can just go and look this shit up, and yet people will still be just duped into the easiest to believe things. Topperman FC, thank you for following. Is Nehemiah in here anymore? Yeah, Arabic numerals is a great one. There we go. LMAO. Okay, that's what it is. There's a saying: 2 Jews, 3 opinions. Yeah, like that's basically what it is. There is a well-known, and it's a little bit of a stereotype where Jews love arguing, they love bartering. It's another thing that gets, I think, through the very Western lens of just kind of vaguely being from over there, because it's a negative stereotype that also gets passed off on Middle Eastern people of all stripes. Like Middle Eastern people and African people, where they love bartering, they love swindling, which is usually just because when people emigrate from over here is that, like, okay, they might have more of a bartering system over there. Like that's how they understand things. The idea that is somehow this racial flaw, or that, like, oh, they're always going to try and get you, they're always going to try and trick you, is like, nah. No, they just, like, that's just how they do over there. Am I down? What's up? Stream quality is good. All right, over on Twitch. All right, I think Twitch is down for now. Sweet, I'll give her, as an African, that's partially true. You try to negotiate a lot. Yeah, and it gets used against people over here so often, especially towards immigrants. And it pisses me off. It's like, okay, I don't understand when people are like dicks if somebody wants to try and barter. Especially, I've heard people bitch at literal farmers markets. And I'm like, well, why aren't you? Ugh. Have fun with it. Jesus Christ. Yeah, negotiating prices is also common in South America. It's kind of only not common in these hyper, I don't even know. God, what is going on with my fucking viewers today? Nehemiah, thank you very much for another 20. Holy shit. Here's a joke. Aaron, David, and Elijah are debating about Bible. David and Elijah agree, but Aaron doesn't. Aaron goes to ask God, and God calls down from heaven. He's right. The other two just say, now it's 2 against 2. That's pretty good. Aaron, David, and Elijah. That was weird. Are we back? Oh, we're Joe back. We're Joe back, chat. Volume is pretty low. All right, I'll turn myself up a little bit. There we go. There we go. Well, I mean, that's where, and I'm saying this as an example because I still hear this shit. I heard my family members say this shit, and I got so fucking mad at them the other day. Not the other day. This was years ago. But people use the word Jew as a pejorative, like a verb, like to Jew somebody on a price. And I'm saying that, do not repeat that, because that's basically a slur to me. But I still hear people, like older people, still use that casually. And when you hear that, it's like, what? Are you out of your fucking mind? Like, what the hell? The idea of calling Neopets an ANCAP hellscape is unironically so fucking funny to me. I don't know why. Fighting Hobbit, thank you for 11 months in a row. You got it because you were speaking the truth. They can't get me. The other day, years ago. Oh yeah, that's one of the most annoying parts of interacting with South Park. Yeah. I think South Park is probably more responsible for bringing back a lot of that shit, or popularizing a lot of this very antiquated racism, because it was like when Cartman would say that shit in the early aughts, it was it was always intended to be. I do not think a lot of the children watching knew that. It was always intended to be satirical. Like it was always intended to be this satirical, out of touch look at somebody who doesn't know fuck about the rest of the world around him. And so that is why you had this bizarre, like old timey racism. But now that old timey racism is back. Ugh. Yep, that's Man Bear Bunny Butters. That's another one. For there's a similar one for Romani people. It's like Romani people. Here's it again. If you want a good look at how people and are villainized and how that is utilized, the fact that there is a Romani specific slur that serves the exact same point as the Jewish specific verb of to Jew somebody down. I'm not going to say the Romani one. Should prove to you how these two, like, those are two groups that have nothing in common except for the fact that they've been persecuted. That they were for a very long time nomadic. That they were for a very long time in modern history, being, in the last 2,000 years, victimized, forced to flee from places, and often cast as the outsiders because of that, because they were different from a lot of the places that they integrated into. And that made them the easiest people to target when shit went down. Yeah, Mr. Chuck Grape. A lot of people didn't. A jazz genre that uses that word. Yeah, no, it sucks because there's like music I like back in the 80s. Being called that was like, it was like a cool thing to be like a rover, like a wanderer. And I've heard the same thing about not heard the same thing, but like one of my favorite musical artists, Ronnie James Dio, has a song that is the title of that song is literally just that word. It's literally just the slur. Yeah. Fucking Wasp has a song too that has it right in the title. All right, chat. We're going to try and get through as much of this as I can stomach. I don't think it's going to be too terribly much, but let's get. You've never heard people using Jew in a sentence like that? Oh, consider yourself lucky. Yep. Cinderella. Oh, man. I forgot about that one. I thought the G word was the proper way to call them. Nope. It is. So, in fairness, it has been a really weird. It's been a point of cultural ignorance, I think, for a lot of particularly white and Western people, is that like because they're Romanis are not a like very well known or visible demographic, right? But that term in particular carries a lot of baggage, and it almost all has to do with in the same way that like you don't refer to a black person as a, and I'm saying this in a historical context, you would not call a black person a Negro. You just wouldn't, because of the proximity that has to very recent racial history. Right? The same reason you would not call a Chinese person an Oriental. It's like, it is not necessarily that you are, because nobody can really know if you're harboring racist intent with that. It is because of how closely associated that phrasing and that terminology is with actual racism and actual violence that were done against these groups. No, there are people named that, which is fucking crazy. Rose Blanchard, I believe is her name. I won't say the first one because but Rose Blanchard, who is a massive case of not Stockholm syndrome. It's the other one. It's fucking her mom abused the shit out of her. Yeah, don't call black people colored either. That's something. Yeah, it's like you can just call black people black. Like it's fine. Roma, yeah. Roma, Romani is the proper way to refer to them. Munchausen by proxy. Thank you, Bala. Um, yeah, I think it's just a case of God. Look at all y'all. Look at all y'all true crime lovers in the chat being like Munchausen. I got you. I got you. Uh, love y'all. Thank you. Um, someone called me colored in an effort to not sound racist. Okay, so I don't have I told the story about my partner, my black partner at Thanksgiving. Fighting, but thank you for 11 months. You got it because you were speaking the truth. I always speak the truth. So one of my partners is black. Well, she's mixed, but she is black passing, and I brought to a couple like 3 or 4 years ago. I brought both of my current partners at the time, one of whom is no longer my partner, and this other person, to family Thanksgiving, which was funny. I did a stand up bit about it for a little bit because the stand up bit started with it freaked out my family to see me with two partners because it was the first time they got to see what a healthy relationship looked like. And there was because my partner is very, I don't want to say ambiguous because that's not accurate, but she lived in Alaska for a long time. And for most white people who just are bad at telling what race people who aren't white are, when they hear that she grew up in Alaska, they're like, "Oh, are you, part indigenous? Are you part indigenous American or First Peoples, any of that?" And my much older aunt just God, what did she say? There was something specifically that I literally looked at my partner like gave her a look like, if you need me to like pull the cord, let me the fuck know. And it wasn't colored, but it was, I think she used the word, a word that I've used on here before that is a slur that you're not supposed to use. And we've had a conversation about it on here. No, they use the M word. M word. In the context of, and here's the thing. Here's the thing with, no, thank God she didn't use the E word. Here's the thing with older white people is, again, when they aren't, there was this cultural misunderstanding. And they think that by, for example, saying you are a beautiful M word, that it is not a slur in some way. And no, not the Bugs Bunny M word, the other one. No, not that one. God damn it. Okay, I forgot that there's like 3 M slurs. I guess I'll just say it, mulatto. Like don't say it again, obviously, but exactly. Yeah, Mr. Jog, please explain your not whiteness exotic one. Basically, 100%. And my partner was so just handled it with such dignity and grace that I was like, I'm so sorry. I apologized to her later. I was like, I can't. If you, and she's like, no, I've been dealing with old white people my entire life. Nah, I heard my grandfather use the R word recently. Startled the fuck out of me because he's normally a very chill guy. The way the R slur has been getting normalized, look, I'm all for dark woke being back. That's one line I'm not fucking crossing, just because I think it makes you look so. Okay, when I was young, my great grandfather was a writer and was very verbose, and everybody in the family kind of looked up to him. And he passed away before I really remembered. But one of the little many pearls of wisdom that were passed on to me was that, God, how did they phrase it? Because it was a very specific phrasing. It was like, profanity is a crutch for people who, can't speak good or something like that. And so for most of my life, I kind of grew up believing that. And then, wouldn't you know it, I became a writer. And I became the only person in my family who could be called a writer. And I swear all the time. So I was kind of like, actually, that shit doesn't make sense. Like using profanity to underline your point or to put passion in your point, especially when you're speaking, is not. I don't fuck with that. It is essentially a way to try and get, if you want to sound smart, don't swear. Which, like, that's not how you fucking sound smart. Look at some of the dipshits out here today who don't swear, but also every word out of their mouth is just nonsense. Elon Musk, prime example. And the thing I did realize is that, no, there are words like that, though. There are words that do make you sound stupider, more immature, less verbose. And the R slur is one of them. Like for example, I've seen Matt Walsh use it quite a lot, calling people fat R slurs. And it's like, dude, like just gleefully flexing his like, I don't have to care about wokeness anymore bullshit. And it's just, it betrays you as somebody who simply wants to revert to being 14, I feel, very deeply. Like you have a much more creative way to insult people. Use it. Troglodyte? Trog is really good. Trog is fun. Yeah, no, exactly. Urchin Princess gives the same vibe as calling somebody a butthead. Yeah, it's just like, okay, butthead. It's like, anyway. Let's get into some of this stuff. I'm gonna go put more tea in the kettle, and I'll be right back.
Before we get into the deep stuff, let's give some basics or some things I want to do inquire from the others. Walk me through the Santa Fe Institute. What was it about the time of the math? And this was in the late 90s. So they're not going to hear me on this part, right? We're going to do it both ways?
It will not be on the video, but we do have you recorded.
Fine. Remember, when you're answering on these questions, I'm not in the shot, and they're never going to hear my voice. So a little bit you got to repeat in your answer, you got to repeat what my question was.
Oh,
a little bit.
Okay.
Santa Fe Institute. Why, when you're at the top of your game on Wall Street, do you decide to finance, which was at the time, or endow, or become the donor or sponsor, however you want to say it, for what was considered the most cutting-edge group of mathematicians in the world? Action.
So Santa Fe Institute in the late 80s, early 90s, I was interested, I was on the board of Rockefeller. So that starts, Rockefeller, it's university formed by John D. Rockefeller to sort of give back to the community. It's east side of Manhattan, except it was old. It was sort of old-fashioned. They were talking about medicine, and medicine by itself was, again, subject to the ideas of science. They were trying to use science to find cures for disease. And I said, no, we need to do something different. We need to start interdisciplinary work.
How did a schmuck like you get on the board of Rockefeller? What year was that?
I don't remember. I think 89 and 91.
So that's one of the most prestigious research places in the world, correct?
Yes.
Okay, how did a guy like you get on the board of a blue blood, internationally known, hard research, Nobel Prize winners all over the place? How do they pick a guy like you, a trader from, or basically some guy from Bear Stearns?
Good question. So I was asked to be on the board of Rockefeller, and I think it was, right, I was on the board of Rockefeller. There was a money manager who said Rockefeller needs someone with financial expertise because the university is growing and there's lots of new things. You have to, again, we go back to the original discussion the last time. Up until the mid-'80s or sort of mid-'70s, the most important thing was your name. If you were Rockefeller, you already were considered to be brilliant.
This is not AI. The video that we saw yesterday, or a couple days ago, I do believe it. The video I saw a couple days ago, I do believe is AI. This, no. This is from the files. This is Stephen Bannon. Steve Bannon, the Breitbart guy behind so much of Gamergate, all that bullshit. No, exactly. It's Sterling Nash. And that's the thing. I've seen so many people clipping this. And again, you have two sides of the coin of how the files are being interpreted. One of them being that, oh, Epstein was a mad genius. And Epstein actually, like, he was on to all of this stuff. And then you have the other half, which is very much that he was rich, so he was around a ton of people with power and influence. He would network with those people to continue getting richer, to continue getting leverage over people like that. And in the meantime, yeah, he would run in circles with very famous theoreticians, statisticians, mathematicians, fucking scientists, like people like Stephen Hawking. You know, at the top of their industries, at the top of their fields, because he was rich, because he was a rich socialite who wanted to seem important. And when you're that rich, it's kind of easier to do it. And so he would go around passing off these ideas he didn't know what they meant and only recalling half of them at any given time. Like that's what he did. He is not in any way a genius. Hey, Savvy Writes Books. Oh, you picked a hell of a time to drop in. All right. I think my tea just stopped, so I'm going to go fill her up, and then I'll be right back, chat. We've talked a little bit about J.K. Rowling. We haven't talked about Jack Horner. But hey, you know what? We're going to be fucking covering this shit for a while. El Savvy, thank you very much for $5. My uncle, basically MAGA Uncle Ruckus from Boondocks, wants immigrants kicked out despite being an immigrant in Australia. Why are some people like this? El Salvi, there are people right now. It came out recently that Alex Preddy's killers were both Hispanic. The ICE agents who shot an American citizen come from a Hispanic background. There are so many people who think that if they can be one of the good ones, they will be able to escape. And they won't. Savvy Writes Books. I cannot focus on anything but Epstein revelations today. Thank God I'm making stickers so I can watch things while working. Yeah, I unfortunately, I've been having a hard time sleeping in the last couple days. I'll talk about it really quick. Yeah, RDY, we talked about the Zeron thing a little bit. Somebody's saying, I saw somebody ask, is it racist to call people like that race traders? I mean, you don't want to approach it from that angle because that's giving validity to the idea of race as this inherent class that you need to galvanize around, right? The idea of saying like, oh, if you do this, you're a traitor to your race is giving credence to essentially white supremacist thought. Where so many white supremacists, when you push back on them, they'll say, oh, I don't hate black people. I don't hate Mexicans. I don't hate Jews. I just think, you know, it'd be better off if we have our own spaces. And that's the bullshit they'll hide their opinions behind. But they do believe in just segregating everybody off in their own area. You shouldn't regard it like that because usually it's not even, especially when you have Hispanic immigrants or people who are descended from Hispanic immigrants who come up to America. there's no way of saying like where they're from or where their family's from. Some people could be from Brazil. Some people could be from Colombia. Some people could be from Venezuela or fucking Cuba or Mexico or wherever, Honduras, Nicaragua. Like there are so many different places with their own inlaid cultures, subcultures, beliefs, differences in religion, like so many different people that you can't really say like, oh, I can't believe that you're a family. What it is a betrayal of your community. That is, they are traitors to their communities. When you go to somebody, for example, National Guard in LA is a great example. When I was in LA and you had National Guard troops who were born or lived in Southern California, they were stationed there, they started there. What you had, I guarantee, are people who grew up, at least to some degree, in LA, who grew up in those communities. Because the betrayal isn't from some nebulous, not very well-defined racial group or class. The betrayal is from the melting pot that gave them the opportunity to rise to the level of an ICE agent. Because in that melting pot, they are now just exhibiting force against people who were just like them in so many different ways. Not necessarily because of where they came from, but how they came here. And to me, that is the greater betrayal, I think. Blu-ray 864, thank you for $10. As the son of Hispanic immigrants, I used to watch your content to get some sort of peace, but now I feel radicalized too much to agree with liberalism. Thoughts on communism, Marxist-Leninism? I'm not so the problem with, and I've thought about this before. I would never call myself a lib. Whatever comes next needs to have a different name. It needs to be different. And this isn't a PR thing. It's like, oh, we can't call it this because, Mao gives us a bad look. Although there are certainly those things too. The thing with Maoist Leninism and, every other stripe of communism and the schools of study, and I talked about this last stream, the reason why I do not relate to any of those is that our current situation, especially with the shit on the allegations and revelations coming from Epstein, our current situation is so different from what the people who created those things were going through. Like, what we are going through right now is nothing close to the Russian czars. Right? Like, the situation, and I'm not saying it can't become as bad, but we live in a world that is different in every way that matters from those times. So let me give you a great example. Russian Revolution. The storming of the palaces, the liberation of all of these systems and stuff. How do you, in a panopticon society right now, create a militant resistance movement that is not immediately infiltrated or outright destroyed, arrested, killed by the government? We live in a world that is so functionally different from the world those people inhabited and navigated that whatever comes next needs to be, just like that, functionally different. Geoduck Geoscience 4300, it feels like a lot of MLs seem to support anyone who doesn't like America. Yeah, and that's the other thing, that it's like, there are so many people, I'm not going to name names here because that little basement dwelling freak will somehow manage to find it, I'm sure. But there are so many people who don't have any other ideas about politics outside of vengeance and retribution, which is an inherently conservative attitude to have. There are so many people who functionally would not be different from who we have in power outside of what fucking flag they want to fly. And it's so fucking frustrating to hear, because we do need to be militant. If there is one thing I am for, and this might be a little bit of a spicy take, it is for normalizing the idea of violence as recourse. He already has people sending this to him. I don't really care. Normalizing the idea of pushing back, because we are in a time where, particularly for the left, the idea of violence has been so vilified, when in reality that's the only way anything has ever gotten done, to me. So I guess on the subject of labels, no, I'm not a tanky, no, I'm not a communist, no, I'm not a Maoist, Leninist, or a third worldist, or anything like that. Do I think America is an evil empire? Absolutely. Would I like to see it rot from within? Absolutely. But there is this little chaos gremlin brained interpretation of the world we live in, where people think it would be better if every Western nation and everybody inside them just died automatically. And it's like, no, we are, again, it's not a symmetrical thing. Like, you do not suddenly just destroy America and then the rest of the world is free. That's another thing that you should learn from the Epstein revelations, is how deeply entrenched and connected people are. Not just between America, not just between America and Israel, America, Israel, Russia, China, Africa, East Europe, Asia. Like, all of these places are connected through these networks of capital and influence and blackmail and torture and murder, and it keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going. People want the thing, I think, where horseshoe theory isn't 100% true, because you do not just like become an authoritarian right winger by becoming more radically left or more militantly left. But if there is one thing I do think horseshoe theory gets correct, it is the idea that at a certain point people want simpler and simpler solutions to very, very complicated problems. And I think that's why so many people want to go to, okay, the next step is revolution. The next step is violence. The next step is this, that, and the other. But I think it is contingent upon us to not repeat the mistakes of the past. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. SMC, the apparatus of societies in the first world have become far too developed to simply overthrow. Hey, stop it. All right, I'm going to give Lady another treat, and then we're going to keep going with this.
If you were head of General Motors, it was your reputation. It was who you knew, who your family was, what was your character. And then in the mid-'70s, basically, if you remember, you probably had a calculator. It was very advanced in those days to have a Texas Instrument calculator, where it could, by putting in the numbers, it would multiply for you to do square roots. And that was the first, and everyone who had a calculator was already advanced on Wall Street. A simple almost like your accountant. The most important parts of business were really now going to calculations. So it's not only mathematics, but it's things that could be calculated.
Oh my God.
Reputation couldn't be calculated. I could give you, are you a 10 on a reputation scale, an 8? What does it mean to have a measurement of your reputation?
Oh, okay, so he's gonna become the fucking repairer of reputations here? Is that what he's saying?
We'll get to that later. But places like Rockefeller needed someone to say, look, we're entering a different world.
Thank you very much for $10 from Nehemia. Inside of you, there are two wolves, one who supports war crimes carried out in the name of Western society, and one who supports war crimes carried out in the name of defeating Western society. Yeah. Yeah, Elric111, it's important to remember that the West doesn't have a monopoly on all the bad things. Like, on one hand, yes, but we do, as a society, have a unique culpability for exploitation, particularly when it comes to, like, mineral trade, how that affects, you know, various forms of feudalism and slavery over, especially in third world countries. Like, you're not wrong, but at the same time, Americans have caused more pain than most.
Where numbers and the numbers of companies, portfolio management was going to be balanced. It was going to be statistical. Jeffrey, could you come on the board? Potentially sit on the finance committee, Nancy Kissinger and a bunch of other people. And David Rockefeller and I got along very well. He was this unbelievable human being. Respectful to everyone.
I can't imagine. Like, all I'm thinking... Like, what the fuck did David Rockefeller do with this motherfucker? Imagine coffee is necessary now, Pepper. I already reviewed it. I have a review for the Melania movie on the channel right now if you haven't watched it. Anar Kaylee, thank you for becoming a member. The old world is dying, the new one struggles to be born. Now is the time of monsters. I have right here next to me on my wall this little lamb chop right here. The old world is dying, we will wear its corpse. That is from the ever wonderful why am I blanking on their name right now? The artist who did this, Kelly Verity. God.
One, he introduced his driver as his colleague, not his driver. He would never say, this is my driver. He said, it's my colleague. And David started to explain to me world politics. So David would say, Jeffrey, money is going to be sort of the most important thing. People don't understand money. You seem to have this knack for money.
Didn't Jay-Z... That's a weird thing. That's a weird... It's... I'm all the shit with Jay-Z's, and again, I realize tangents being what they are. Everything with Jay-Z and Beyonce tells me that this shit isn't over. Like, you always got to look at the outside, the periphery of people, because the fact that they've gone so silent that apparently Jay-Z left the fucking country yesterday. Tells me that there's more here than just a little collab. Yeah, that's... Ayo, yeah. The stuff with Jay-Z is fucking crazy. He was in the files, Jay-Z and Pusha T. So Pusha T is different because T was mentioned in passing. I do not, and correct me if I'm wrong, I do not believe Pusha T was found to have done anything wrong or is expected to have done anything wrong. Like, there are a lot of people who are just mentioned in passing because here's the other thing about Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein, we know this from past things he's done and said, he is a massive name dropper. The dude loves to, like, there have been multiple times in the past where he, he'll be on camera, he'll tell stories, or like it would be overheard that he would talk about, oh, I'm having lunch with this person today. Oh, I'm having lunch with this. To the point where I think a lot of people are forgetting that some of this stuff is hard to verify because of how much, A, how many connections he actually had, but B, how much he liked to appear more connected than he was. Didn't Jay-Z literally stab someone before he became big? I wouldn't be surprised. But like, such was the life of a 90s rapper. Yeah, it's the fleeing the country. It's the, like, look, if you want to put your Instagram private for a little bit while shit gets sorted out in the public eye, that's one thing. Deleting your Instagram, flying the coop, and then having, like, I believe Spotify took down all of Jay-Z's library and maybe Beyonce's too. Here we go. Oh yeah, Jay groomed Bay, and people don't talk about that shit enough. Many casual observers, the implications seemed obvious. Here we go. Why Jay's a name appears in the documents. The claim was not proven. The claim was not litigated, not substantiated, consistently denied any involvement. There's no public evidence showing Jay-Z even knew Weinstein in 1996. Although, according to reports, no evidence has surfaced indicating a relationship between Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein when Jay-Z was still in the earliest stages of his music career. A mention in the investigative file does not imply guilt, knowledge, or participation. It simply reflects that someone had said something and that statement was logged, which is true. Wow, this is actually a really good Why This Matters Bond Facts Over Frenzy. does not mean they committed crimes associated with Epstein or were involved in wrongdoing. It means their names appeared in unverified material collected by authorities, which is true. Yeah, of course, I still believe in. Look, that has to be requested by a copyright holder. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, give me 1 second, chat. I'll be right back.
I said to David, tell me about your life. What was the worst and the best part of your life? So David said, when I grew up, everyone knew I was a Rockefeller. They didn't know that my father told me he would not leave me a dime. No money. But every time we went out to eat, me and my 5 friends at school, they would leave me the bill. They would expect me to pick up the check because I was a Rockefeller. And he said, I was chairman of Chase Bank. And he said, I remember like it was yesterday, one of the headlines in Time magazine said, David, please fire yourself. So he thought that there was a world that existed that would be a combination of both politics and business and leadership. What do I mean? He formed something called the Trilateral Commission. The Trilateral Commission is some spooky stuff. People said it was some of the people the Illuminati, there's some mystery about it, people that ran the world. It was politicians, but David said,
Nehemiah, thank you very much for $5. Epstein's probably dumb enough to think you could become smarter through osmosis by standing next to someone intelligent. He almost certainly was into some of that bullshit. I don't know how his Geoduck Geoscience. You don't know how. I don't understand. Like a rapper in 1999 stabbing somebody is some of the hardest shit you could do. Like that was around the time, wasn't it? When did 50 get shot 9 times? Oh yeah, but the thing that I was like, Jay-Z named his company Rockefeller was the thing. Which is just a weird if it turns out that he had connections to Epstein is just another weird similarity, I think, but it's like, look, hey, Nas, most vindicated. Look, I know, Not Like Us is fresh in everybody's minds. But Nas deserves some flowers for the shit he went through with Jay.
most countries, the politicians get elected for 4 years or 8 years, separate from the royal families in England or in the Middle East. Someone's there for 4 years and then they're not there anymore. The most important people to have stability and consistency would be businessmen. So he formed this trilateral commission of businessmen and politicians from 3 major continents. So it was the North Americans, the Europeans, and the Asians. So he said to me, would you like to be on the Trilateral Commission? Now, I was 32 years old. I said, great. And he said, well, you have to fill out this application so they have your bio. And I looked at the list of people, and it was Bill Clinton, former president of the United States.
Oh, I didn't know that. Nas used to beat Kellis. He can get fucked. I did not know this. God, I just found out the other fucking thing. I just found out the other day I was told about Mystical. And Mystical being a fucking piece of shit. My partner, I accidentally tapped into her, Koa, my partner Koa, accidentally tapped into her, she had used my headphones and I put them on and I was listening to Mystical. I'm like, oh. And I had to tell her, like, do you know this about Mystical?
Paul Volcker, every great leader in America, the Asians, the Japanese, and with a very long description of their history. And they asked me to fill in what I would like to have written. And I wrote Jeffrey Epstein, comma, just a good kid, which I thought was funny, nobody else did.
It needs to be underlined here. Are we talking about Lil Nas X? No, we're talking about Nas. Ether Nas. Illmatic Nas. No, I didn't know about Mystical. I mean, like, I don't stay up to date with a lot of up to date. I don't like, I just listen to music, y'all. I don't do, like, same thing with heavy metal and stuff. Like, if people are fucking pieces of shit, I'd fucking cry if Wu-Tang were shitheads. I got bad news about Ghostface. I got bad news and good news. Bad news, Ghostface is homophobic towards his kid. Good news, his kid put out a banger of a fucking album in, that was beginning of last year? Yeah. The name they go by, Infinite Coals. Let me see. Tell you what, chat. I'll play a little bit of it and I'll just cut it out later because the Sweet Face Killer verse fucking rips, y'all. If you didn't know about it. So she wrote this as kind of a diss track to her dad, but there's also a really kind of a more touching song on there. All right, I will be right back. Give me 1 second. Yeah, honestly, the Epstein thing being just him and fucking Steve Bannon talking to him for a couple hours. Does anybody have like a better highlight of that? All right, let's hear this real quick, because if you can have good highlights of that shit, I will if you can get a couple good highlights of the interview, because I don't want to sit through any more of this shit. Shit is so fucking boring. Like, I know we're only 7 minutes in, but Jesus Christ. All right, let's go to, you know what, who I want to see fucking wriggle out of this? I'm still mad. Let's get into Matt Walsh's face. But yeah, just like pop this, listen to this fucking beat, because the verse, they killed it, which is also great. By the way, if you haven't listened, their first album before this is actually really good background listening. Who is another cat that I was listening to that I'm like, oh, I need to download more of this guy's. Reuben James is another one. If you like really good kind of jazz, like modern R&B jazz, I really dig Reuben James's stuff. Anyway, check out Infinite Coals, Ghostface Killer's Kid, whips it. Drax's Storm Scale. No, we watched it. Do we have any? I want to get some fucking highlights on it, because let me see. Maybe somebody did it. 2 days ago. All right, here we go. Let's check these ones out.
The latest batch of Epstein documents released by the Justice Department Friday yet again showcases the numerous powerful people in the late sex offender's orbit. As the New York Times puts it, quote, the documents show how Jeffrey Epstein's connections with elites in Hollywood, Wall Street, Washington, and fashion thrived even after he became a convicted sex offender in 2008. At this time, there is no evidence of any criminal wrongdoing by any of those mentioned. There is, however, compromised timelines of their association with the disgraced pedophile. Take Elon Musk. An email from November 2012 shows a conversation where Musk asked Epstein, quote, what day night will be the wildest party on your island? The emails do not say whether Musk ultimately visited the island and do not indicate any wrong.
That Nadine, thank you very much for $5. Hell yeah, for just listening music, not giving a shit about drama. Also, big shout out to Selma FM. Lush took a sledgehammer to my leg. I do not know what that means.
Doing by Musk, and Musk has also denied going to the island. And then there's Steve Bannon, Trump's former White House strategist, who apparently has been sitting on hours of unseen footage with Epstein, footage that Epstein's brother has been trying to obtain. And for the first time, we get to see some of that footage, including...
Jesus Christ, 15 or 16 hours. Like I am sure, because here's the thing. Again, bigwigs like this, bigwigs like Epstein, they love talking about themselves. So I'm not surprised that Steve Bannon was able to sit and talk for so fucking long about this dipshit, about his probably favorite subject. But the idea of having that material, knowing everybody he was connected to, I have a strong, again, we looked at the, because I know I just said that conspiracy isn't helpful. But there are connections that I think should be investigated more, that should be pushed upon as pressure points. One of them, I believe, and again, I have no proof outside of tangential connections. I think Steve Bannon is a massive, massive part of this. That is my fucking conspiracy theory. That Steve Bannon has been a go-between between him and Trump, which is like actually not that crazy. But that Steve Bannon, like that, the shit with the house with the acid in his bathtub, I feel is like a massive smoking gun that not enough people are really talking about, honestly.
What appears to be Steve Bannon interviewing Epstein. It was part of the DOJ's latest Epstein batch. Take a look.
I'm in a privileged position to have some of the world's smartest people come to my house and tell me what they think about different subjects. And I finally realized that...
Like again, this was years after. This was before Epstein died, but this was still years after Epstein had been charged. Everybody right now, when Bannon sits down with this scumfuck and is listening to him dawdle on about how many people he knows and hanging out with all these famous people and being so rich and smart and all this bullshit, Bannon knows everything he's fucking done. There's no way he doesn't. The idea, again, there's so many little things that Bannon has said that I'm like, oh, this really, hits different. This is a different light. Like, for example, when Bannon said go to prison, that they would be... What did he say exactly? Here we go. November 7th, Bannon warned conservatives of jail time if Republicans lose key elections. God is my witness. If we lose the midterms, if we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included. They're getting more and more radical. What do we have to counter it with? We have to counter it with more action, more intense action, more urgency. We're burning daylight. Does that sound like somebody who's innocent to you?
The thing that they had most in common was there was this area, no matter how smart they were, that when I asked them the questions, they said they'd have to...
Oh, God, Nehemiah, $5. Fun possibility for y'all to consider Steve Bannon equals Bubba. So here's the thing, is that Bill Clinton's nickname for decades has been Bubba. But that actually does... I feel like that lines up better for what Trump is rumored to have done with a Bubba. QAnon was in full force when Rowling invited Epstein. I mean, it was around the Cursed Child fucking play premiere or something. So probably
resort
2018,
to a
2019,
500
so
or
I
1,000
don't
year
think
old
quite
response to that question, which was, I don't know.
You know who else found that out? Socrates. That's what Socrates kept doing, right? Socrates kept asking all the.
So this is one of the things this is another thing that's been going around, is him talking about how he wanted to be like Socrates and Plato and not write, but just, talk and not read and not rely on books and all that shit, which is not how that worked. Socrates wrote a ton of books. They had parchment and shit. Like it's just a rich dumbass's idea of what a smart person looks like. In the same way you see with somebody like Elon Musk. It makes so much sense to me. 156. All right, let's go. Let's do that really quick. 156, you say?
Before we get into the deep stuff, let's give some basics or some things I want to do. Teeth of the Jews, and said, I want to give this to Heidelberg University to fund the Leibniz chairs so that I can study high energy physics. Derek Bach would say that was fine.
Again, these questions are questions where good people on both sides, like your Charlottesville, could differ. I don't know the answer to these questions.
So tell us the two. Give us the two answers. What the one answer why it shouldn't be, and then the one answer. Derek Bach says, I'll essentially take cash from anybody because I got so many projects, so many good guys, and this is the way I'll do it. So I'm indifferent to where the cash comes from. Money's money, and if I got good guys, I'm the fiduciary. Says these are good people and this is good research. Okay, I'll take the cash from any source, including you. What's the other argument?
Let me give you that. I know in my case,
Is your money dirty money?
If you live,
I just asked a question. Is your money dirty money?
No, it's not. So, in fact,
why is it not dirty money?
Because I earned it, heart.
But you earned it. I earned it legally. We went back to this before. You earned it. You earned it, advising the worst people in the world, right? That do enormous bad things. And just to make more money.
So, instead of asking me the question, should you take the money? Because I think it's a legitimate question.
You think it's a legitimate question?
Yes, no
Why?
question. Because I think about, ethics is always a complicated subject. But
It's not this time. It's not this time. It's not. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I earned that money. Listen to this sniveling, dawdling. He gets pushed back one time, and I'm not giving credit to Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon is doing what he thinks is fucking journalism for whatever reason he's doing this. But he gets a modicum of pushback for the first time in his life, and he fucking collapses. He starts stuttering. He starts faltering. The idea, and this, by the way, this would happen to literally any of these dumb fucks when you start asking them actual questions about ethics, about morality, about if they think, because the only alternative is the truth that they truly believe that they are the next ascended species of humanity, that they are the ones who are going to deliver everybody else, and that's the thing that Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and these other fucking Brian Johnson, all these sickos actually believe. But they understand that doesn't play very well with the base, so they result to this type of shit. What is this? Journalism for ants? Ethics is complicated. Dog, you don't get to be one of the biggest pedophiles of all fucking time and be like, ethics is actually complicated. You don't understand what ethics or morals or any of these arguments actually are or what they mean. Opulent Koi, thank you for following.
But I can tell you.
Oh, yeah, same with Peter Thiel and fucking Curtis Yarvin. God, I'm so fucking tired of hearing about Curtis Yarvin.
With the money I gave to help try to eradicate polio in Pakistan and India, instead of asking me whether that money should be given to these children for vaccines, I think you might want to ask their mothers who received the vaccine, who know their child now won't get polio, and ask them if Epstein should have helped these people
If we
with their
walked in,
money.
if we walked in, you're
is
a
that a fair
mathematician.
question?
You're a mathematician. If we walked into that clinic where they're giving that money out to these people that are in the most dire straits of poverty and sickness, and told them that the money was coming from a, what are you, class 3 sexual predator?
Tier 1.
Was tier 1's the highest and worst?
No, I'm
The lowest?
I'm the lowest.
You're the lowest.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. The idea of you are... I'm the lowest. I'm the lowest form of sexual predator. Get the fuck out of here. And here's where I know that Steve Bannon isn't serious about this. He's not really serious about holding his feet to the fire. He's not really being like, let's get to the bottom. Let's really dig into this. Is because he's not pushing. He doesn't have the facts ready to go if he's going to ask about this shit. Secondly, he's not pushing back on that. You molting liver spot wretch. You fucking just... There has never been a more apt description for a human being as a sack of shit than Steve Bannon. Literally. No, I'm the low. Like, again, it's you hear them talk sometimes, and it sinks in how utterly detached from humanity people like this are. Genuinely. The idea that that of the shit he's done, horrors that Dante's Inferno could not summon from its depths. And you let this fucking worm, this inhuman maggot, slither away by saying, "Oh no, I'm a low tier. I'm low tier sexual assaulter." Fucking coward.
Okay, tier 1, you're the lowest.
No, you know who? Somebody said Steve Bannon is a demon from hell. No, who he reminds me of? This is the human form of the Violator. God, I don't want to go to Clownopedia. That's gonna put something weird in my search results, I'm sure. Yeah, the human. This is Steve Bannon. That's what Steve Bannon reminds me of. Dead fucking ass. That Steve Bannon right there.
But a criminal.
Yes.
That the money came from them. What percentage of people do you estimate? I understand you don't like probabilities. Do you estimate would say, "I don't care. I want the money for my children"?
I would say everyone said, "I want the money for my children."
Did they know where the money came from?
I think if you told them,
if
I told them
100%.
the devil
himself
said, "I'm going to exchange some dollars for your child's life."
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question.
Sorry.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Because you have all the attributes. You're incredibly smart. You remember, the devil is somebody
devil
knows
smart?
The devil's brilliant.
I feel like that's a really great look into, like, Steve Bannon trying to already mythologize this fuck by being like, "Oh, you have all the attributes. The devil's smart." And his first reaction, like, look at this man. Does he seem like somebody with the lights all on? No. His first reaction, "Oh, the devil's smart? Are you..."
You read Milton's Paradise Lost.
No, the devil scares me.
This Satan is he is.
You didn't read that shit either, dude. Bannon, you didn't read fucking Milton. Get the fuck out of here. Bannon, the kind of motherfucker to be like, yes, my favorite book is The Old Man and the Sea, followed by Moby Dick, and you didn't read either of them shits. I know it. They both sound fucking stupid here. Dank Wonkwan, thank you for following. 205 Godspeed, thank you for following.
At the number 1 or 2 arcane.
This is the one we thought was AI. I guess it's not.
Angel. And the reason he goes to hell and leads the rebellion is because he can't be the top guy.
Again, like don't let it escape you that people will tell you, or people will try and depict, people like Bannon will try and depict this dipshit as some sort of virtuoso, as a Renaissance man who has his fingers in everything because he was just so well learned, and meanwhile you're giving him fucking cliff notes on one of the most integral pieces of the Western canon, John Milton's fucking Paradise Lost. And he's like, oh, is that how it happened? Oh, get the fuck out. Get the fuck. Nehemiah, thank you very much for $5 to lighten his cell. We're brighter than those in his head. Ain't that the fucking truth?
And his thing is, I'd rather reign in hell than serve in heaven.
I saw that in a movie once.
See, sometimes I say something, and all I had to do was just watch a couple more seconds to be like, oh no, you proved it for me that you're a barely literate mouth breather. Like, you proved it for me. You proved why you and Trump get along so well, because you're both fucking idiots that see the world as fucking movies, see it as all films. God damn. I saw that in a movie once. Yeah, fucking what Boondock Saints? Francis Fishbot, thank you for subscribing. I'm sure it is something like, it's got to be some part of the dipshit dude bro canon, right? Like, it's not going to be fucking Sallow. It's not going to be a fucking Ingmar Bergman movie. It's going to be like he saw it in Legion or Priest or some fucking dog shit action movie from the mid-aughts. The movie is The Devil's Advocate. That too. Yeah. This is literally the scene from The Sopranos. I saw that movie. Thought it was bullshit.
Called American Dharma. I don't remember who said it. Okay? We have to go.
Okay, good.
Okay.
What did I just say about if I watched a couple more seconds, I would have answered. American Dahmer is the one he... American Dahmer. Was that a movie? Was that what he said? American Dahmer?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Because you have all the attributes. You're incredibly smart. You remember the devil is
Was
somebody
the devil
knows.
smart?
The devil's brilliant. You read Milton's Paradise Lost.
No, the devil scares me.
A saying in which it's disappointing to me that Boondock Saints is dude bro movies. Have you watched those movies recently? They're fucking real not good. Have you? When was the last time you watched Boondock Saints? Because I watched, after hearing for years and after seeing posters of it, for years with the two guys pointing the guns and like doing all that shit, being like, okay, you know what? I'm going to finally dig into this cult classic. I watched it like 4 or 5 years ago. Terrible fucking movie. Terrible movie.
Satan is at the number 1 or 2 archangel, and the reason
American
he
Dogma.
goes to hell
Okay.
and leads the rebellion is because
Is it different from? Jesus Christ, dog. American Dogma. Loner with a mysterious past becomes obsessed with a foreign woman he believes is part of a sex trafficking ring. I mean, that's the only fucking thing that movie exists in. Jesus.
He can't be the top guy. And his thing is, I'd rather reign in hell than serve in heaven.
I saw
Paige Wilder, OWO, how did these people get so financially successful when they're dumb as a box of rocks? You just need somebody to be dumber than you. Like that's the true cheat code to capital, is you need to be able to identify people who are stupider than you and find a way to make that work for you. Like that's it. It is a constant chain of subjugation linking one into another. I refuse to watch the second one. Seltzers, thank you very much for subbing with Prime. We are, by the way, I do want to say, we crossed 150K on YouTube, so I want to thanks to everybody who chilled with me. And we are so close to 10K on Twitch. So if you haven't yet, please, like, subscribe, follow, especially if you're on Twitch. I don't need you to sub. I don't need to be a paid sub, but following definitely helps because we are, I believe we're less than 300 now. 300 followers away from 10K. So, Eric PT, thank you very much for following. Jesus Christ. Alrighty, chat. Let's. Oh my god. Oh my god, dude. Wait, is it just a minute long? Sorry. I want to see. Oh, official trailer. Okay. I was like, real history with Matt Walsh. I would love to see Matt Walsh talk about fucking slavery. We should I started digging into the original documents. Yeah, sure. Sets the record straight on the history schools refuse to teach. No.
I knew the story of slavery.
No, I'm not. I can't do that right now. I have to go in like 10 minutes. Let's go. Yeah, we're gonna. Oh, sorry. I need to text somebody back. We are gonna go. Got the Black Emanuel set on Blu-ray from Severin yesterday. This box set is feature packed. My one that I've been looking for, or I think I'm going to try and get as a gift for myself at some point, is the Shinya Tsukamoto gift set, because I've been hankering to rewatch the Tetsuo films lately, and I've never seen 3. I've seen 1 in Body Hammer. How fucked is my algorithm? So fucked. My algorithm is just bonkers. Alrighty, chat. I am oh, do we not have? Hang on now. There we go. All right, we're going to go say hi to Maple Takes. They're doing more Epstein coverage, so they should be able to go do that. I keep the algorithm separate. No, I love, well, I don't love, but having the algorithm serve me more slop is great for me. But if you haven't yet, please go like, subscribe, follow, do all the things, and go say hi to Maple Takes. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night, and I will see you all on Wednesday. Stay tuned to the channel for more stream highlights and more videos that are coming out, because the Floating Rocks piece is in the works.